Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Jean. I'm the program manager here at Meditation Mount. So welcome to our full moon meditation. We're really happy to have all of you here tonight. Let's see. Oh, my mind went a little blank. So we offer these full moon meditations every month for you, and we love to keep doing this. We would love to continue with this, and we can only do this through your generosity and support. So if you are already donating to us, we really appreciate your help and support. And if you aren't and you would like to, and you're in person or you're online, you can go to meditationmount.org and make a donation, or you can do so with one of our staff members here. So tonight we are lucky enough to have Michael Linfield and Diana Lang leading us in our full moon meditation. The sun sign in Cancer and the lunar sign is Capricorn. I'll be leading you in a short sound experience to help us align as a group together. So we're just really happy to have everyone here in person and our Zoom audience. Oh, thank you, Michael. Yes, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or definitely put it in airplane mode, something like that. Yeah, and we ask that if you can, stay inside for the duration of the meditation because we are broadcasting live. And I think that's it. We're just really happy to offer these events, and in the coming months, we'll be offering more different types of events, retreats, and workshops. So just keep checking out our calendar and see what we have going on. And again, we can only do that with your support and help. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy our full moon meditation. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly. Oh. Thank you, Kelly. That was beautiful. We'll go into cancer and what it's about. But one of the things, it's a birthing sign. And so you can imagine the waters of feeling, the waters of birth. And when Kelly was singing, I could just imagine the mother singing to the child. And so thank you for creating that atmosphere. It's very special. So I'm going to say a few words, but before then, I want to welcome you, echo what Kelly said, welcome to Meditation Mount. Those of you here in the auditorium, Diana and I will be hosting, facilitating, leading this evening with you. And then we have online audience. So we started these in-person full moon meditations again 3 months ago. And we would only do it if we could still continue to live stream to the people that joined us during COVID. And we've got a community of people around the world that are part of our community here locally. So what we normally do when we begin is just to bring ourselves to a place of centering, be present for ourselves for this moment. We gather our forces and we prepare ourselves. So take a few deep, gentle breaths just to bring yourself to a place of inner peace. And with each breath, you can release any tensions that may be held inside your physical body. Any tension that may be held in your emotions, your feeling body. And then let go of any extraneous thoughts that may be swirling in your mind. Just let them pass on by, like clouds in the sky. Just allow them to move on so that you sit inside a mind that is clear and receptive. And then we step into that silent space of the heart together. And at the center of each of our hearts, there is a flame, which is the eternal fire of love that burns in each one of us. And so let us weave together our many hearts as we link heart to heart to heart to heart with all those in the auditorium, all those joining us from around the world, to create a group field in which we can stand and do our work together. And then visualize us as a vibrating, loving heart, linked with many other hearts of individuals and groups around the world who are gathered at this time of the full moon as an act of service, as an act of blessing. We're part of a vast network of light, an interweaving of hearts. Allow this reality to impress itself upon your very atoms. Thank you. So we've got the air conditioning on. It's as cool as we can get it at the moment. It happens to be the hottest time of day, and so we will be at peace with it. So I'd like to begin this introduction to cancer by just speaking in general terms about why do we meditate together at the full moon. The first thing to say, it has nothing to do with the moon itself. The full moon is that time when the sun, the moon, and the earth are in alignment. And we know because with the full moon, you see the light reflected. So there's nothing obstructing the light from the sun to the earth at the time of the full moon. It's the same, in the same way, when nothing is obstructing the light of our soul from reaching us as a personality. That's the time when we can enter into a deeper communion. So it's said that at this time of the full moon, it's an opportunity just because of the alignment of the planets themselves. It's an opportunity to deepen our relationship with our own soul, with the overlighting soul of the one humanity, with the soul of Gaia. It's sort of an alignment. So that's why we choose the time of the full moon. It's one of these times of poise. And at the actual time of the full moon, it's like a door opens and energies from the constellation of Cancer, in this instance, flood into our environment. And the sun is our source of life. And those of you who are familiar with the ancient Vedic prayer recognize the words that this source of life is the being from whom all things proceed and to whom all things return. We don't have to name it anymore. It's the central life. So at the time of the full moon, there's an increased potency and possibility, increased magnetism. And the Ageless Wisdom teaching tells us that the planetary life itself, the ensouling life of the planet, because planet is a sentient being, this planet Earth, is at its own highest point of contact with the solar life. So just as we are aligning our soul and personality, the sun and the earth are aligned, so the actual life of the planet is in the deepest possible communion with its corresponding higher aspect, the solar life. So this is a time when there's this energetic pathway between the worlds. Just ponder on that we're not just here sitting in a room meditating. We're part of this incredible circuitry of the cosmos. And life flows through us as we make the connections. Life doesn't flow if the network is not connected. That's why we join together here and join with other groups, so that we can be part of this network, which is the circuitry of creation for this planet. The other thing is that I said it's a relationship between the personality and the soul and the earth and the sun. It's also between two realms that we also call kingdoms. I call them realms now. The two realms, the fourth realm, which is the realm of humans, us here, and the fifth realm, which is the realm of souls, which simply is inhabited by those beings who have graduated from the fourth and have now attained mastery over themselves. And they simply function as souls. Like the sun, they simply give and ask for nothing in return. They are beings of light and wisdom. So the good news is that's where we're headed, but we've got some work to do before that to clean up our act. But this is also a time when the fourth and the fifth can line up, and we can be in contact with those beings who, because they've traveled the same roads that we're traveling now, they've gone through the same struggles, they have graduated with a degree from the Earth classroom. They understand what it's like to transform pain and suffering into joy and wisdom. Therefore, they're naturally our mentors. So that's how I relate to them. They're sort of my older sisters and brothers. I wanted to name that because this is also the opportunity at this time. So having said that, let's focus a little bit more on Cancer. I'll say some things and then I'll hand over to Diana. And Diana, of course, is a very accomplished astrologer, and she can add to anything that I may have not said. And what I'd like to say is that Cancer is a water sign. And the phrase that's given to it is the purificatory waters of experience begin their beneficent work. So it's a time of birthing of new beginnings, of new possibilities in Cancer. It's also the sign of the crab, as we know. And if you look at the crab, it's slow-moving, it sort of moves sideways. It's slow-moving, it carries its house on its back, both on land, which represents the physical, and in the water, which represents the emotional or astral plane. So the life pattern of a crab demonstrates the characteristics of this sign. So the creature that we know as the crab, it takes its house with it for safety, for security, whether it's on land or in water. And so it also tends to hide under a rock occasionally, or hide. And I'm making a very general statement here, and you probably can correct me, Diana, but the downside of the Cancerian influenced person is that they're tempted to hide their light under a bushel, to go under the rock, not to show up, basically. And so this is an opportunity. So in general terms, those who are under the influence of Cancer are home lovers. They love building homes. And they tend to build a shell around themselves. This shell can be a home which you welcome others, or it could be a protection that you retreat into for your own safety. It's sort of up to us. Cancer has an important role to play in the unfoldment of the divine pattern. And I'm going to quote here, as it bestows upon us that which has been called the ability to respond to contacts coming from all points of the compass and from every angle of the zodiacal wheel, from that which is within as well as from that which is without. So Cancer has this amazing potential for being an agent of the life of the spirit. And it really plays a significant role in connecting the law of rebirth, because it's one of the gateways into life, the gateway into the form. It is a birthing sign, as we said. And this is what I was reflecting on earlier, because sometimes you say, oh, we're in Cancer now, and you forget what came before. It's interesting to note how the cycles of the seasons and then this procession and progression each month through the zodiacal wheel, it actually reflects the universal process of manifestation. If you think back to Aries, Aries is a fire sign. Fiery, sort of ignites spirit, resurrection, renewal, things come to life again. And then the earth sign of Taurus follows, where the light is anchored into the atomic structure of the earth. Taurus, the bull with the light in its forehead. And then we move into Gemini, which is the twins, which is ruled by Mercury. And as we know, Mercury has been called the messenger of the gods. So it plays this amazing role of linking the two worlds, heavens and earth. And the linking process allows fertilization or stimulation, quickening to take place, so that when we arrive in Cancer, everything is ready for the birth. And Cancer is a water sign, so we're going to have a water birth. I know that's... Why do people have water births? Well, because it's normal, it's natural. So it's interesting to see how we're in Cancer now, but it started off with Aries. And then we go into the fire signs. We started fire, earth, air, water. And then next month we're into Leo, where the personality sort of is, once it's born, it awakens and shines and does its thing. So we're back to fire, earth, air, and water. I think it's important to remind ourselves that we're part of this ongoing cycle of revelation. So, the other thing to note is that if Cancer is a birth sign, we're approaching the 4th of July. And so the USA, the modern USA, was born in Cancer. And also, if you go back even further to the beginnings of our human existence, and I'm going to quote from the Ageless Wisdom teaching. This is not something I've made up. You don't have to believe anything I say, by the way, if it doesn't resonate with you. I mean, I'm not an authority. I'm simply saying what I've come to learn to be true for me. But it's said that 18 million years ago, humankind was born when the Promethean fire of mind entered the animal human. And for the first time, you had all three aspects of life in one package. You had spirit, the fire of spirit. You had the fires of earth. And then, in order to bridge them, a soul was created. So you had the fire of the soul. And so that was the first time that a unit of consciousness that contained all three aspects was walking around in one body. Which is why it says in the Bible and other scriptures, we're made in the image and likeness of the Creator. And I think that's really important to understand, because it hints at some of our task, our destiny as human beings. Because at the moment, with the planet being polluted, a lot of people are saying, well, we can do without humans. The earth can do without humans. Yes, it can to survive. But to really wake up and function, it isn't that we humans are important for who we are. It's the function that we provide is a function of allowing the planet to become self-conscious, self-aware, because we have a subjective and objective reality, and we're gifted with this understanding of connecting God immanent that lives inside us and God transcendent. So we're the bridge. I'll leave it at that and just to ponder on. But in fact, you could say we're fractals of the one life. Therefore, everything's reflected in us, the Creator, and we have the same creative powers. And it's up to us now to create a planet of beauty and stop polluting our own bodies, stop polluting the body of the planet. We know those things. So now let's move on to some of the energies associated with this sign. So we're going to talk about the esoteric ruler of Cancer is the moon. But as we said, the moon is not important because it doesn't transmit any life-giving energies at the moment. It represents something. In this case, it veils Neptune. Neptune is the key here. So Neptune is the esoteric ruler. The exoteric, the outer ruler, is the moon. And if we look through the lens of the seven rays, those of you who are familiar with the rays, it's like the rainbow. You know, one light comes through a prism and breaks up into seven colors. Well, this one life comes through the Trinity and breaks up into seven energetic qualities that we call the rays. So in Neptune is said to carry the sixth ray of devotion, idealism, and devotion. And it's an expression of the law of service. Neptune's also one of the synthesizing planets, and it emphasizes, let me quote here, the capacity to be in touch and sensitive to mass consciousness. And there are other rays associated with this planet. In addition to the sixth ray, there's the fourth ray of harmony through conflict. So how we find harmony is to deal with the polarities of conflicting polarities and raise them to the higher point of synthesis, the apex of the triangle. There's also the seventh ray of synthesis, or ceremonial magic and order, that brings order to form. And then there's the third ray of active intelligence, which anchors everything. No, it doesn't matter if you didn't understand the word. It's not important. The thing is to feel this is an opportunity for us to give birth to something. In Cancer, we're really invited to radiate out into the world and to not hide our divine gifts under a rock or hide our light under a bushel. And one of the characteristics of Cancer is sensitivity to mass consciousness. Now, I'm going to unpack what that may mean. So it connects us with everything. And here's what the teachings say. I'm going to quote from a book called Esoteric Astrology, which is written by Alice Bailey, because it's part of the lineage that flows through this place. So let me read the quote. And just take it in, not as information, but register what it might mean energetically. It should be noted that both Neptune and Jupiter are exalted in Cancer, the great sign wherein the desire for incarnation finds its fulfillment. So this is why it's a birthing sign. Cancer is the only other sign which is ruled by only one planet. Though in Orthodox astrology, the moon is substituted for Neptune because it is the form nature which is dominant in the longest stage of human unfoldment. Just as esoterically, it is the feeling, sensitive nature which dominates the average person. It is this stable tendency that the seeker, the disciple, has to wrestle. In the mass mind, of which Cancer is the truest expression, it is fortunate that Neptune is veiled by the moon and that the form fails to register or step down many of the impacts to which the true person is sensitive. Average humanity is not yet fully equipped to bear the full range of these impacts, to handle them constructively or to transmute them and interpret them accurately. So just what my interpretation is, if we were to receive it now, it's like being plugged in, put my toaster into the high transmission lines. I blow a fuse. We have to create the circuitry to able to download all the energies that are playing upon this planet. So finally, the final quote from this part of the esoteric astrology book: upon the path of discipleship, that basically says everyone who says yes to life and is seeking to serve the common good. Upon the path of discipleship and along the line of esoteric development, one of the major difficulties and great problems of the disciple is their extreme sensitivity to impacts from every side and their rapid ability to respond to contacts coming from, and now we're going to go back to the thing I quoted before, all points of the compass, from every angle of the zodiacal wheel, and from that which is within as well as that which is without, from that which lies above, below, and upon every hand. So, the other thing is, each sign of the zodiac transmits a particular quality of light. And the quality of light that comes through the constellation of Cancer is called the light within the form. So it's a birthing. You bring the light into the form. And this is a natural lead-in to the main focus of what we're doing today, and Diana will lead us deeper into that in a moment. But if you look at the spiritual motto of Cancer, I build a lighted house and therein dwell. It's not, I hide away in my shell. It's, I build a lighted house and therein dwell. So the question is, what does it mean to build a lighted house? For instance, the true work of Freemasonry is to build a lighted house, to build a temple, whether it's the temple of the individual being or the temple of our one humanity. It's all about temple building. So how do we do it ourselves? If I'm going to build a lighted house, I have to build it with substance which is pure. So you've got to have building blocks that are fit for use. And so that's all the work we do through our therapies, through our working out of our old patterns, getting rid of the last vestiges of the things that hold back the pure spirit of who we are. So when we've created a higher frequency substance, that becomes the building block of our temple. So that's the work we're doing here, is cleaning up our act so we can build something which does justice to the truth, the goodness, and beauty that is our soul. In order for the soul to take up residence on earth, it needs proper housing. And the lighted house is the proper house. So I would say that each one of us, when we build our lighted house, it's as though we're building microclimates of goodness, of caring and sharing. And then we build together, when we link these individual lighted houses, we build this temple of the new humankind. We build the temple of the one human soul. And that's really our focus now as we go into the meditation, is what does it mean for us to respond to the invitation to build a lighted house? So those are some of the musings that I wanted to share with you just to prepare the field. And as I said, Diana is a really accomplished astrologer, and I'd love her to add anything. And then she will lead us into the meditation. So thank you. Over to you, Diana.
Am I on, Joey?
Yeah.
No? Hello, hello? Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Wow. So a couple things came to mind. Kelly Jean playing a lullaby for us. We need that right now. And the little baby birds, as you all heard, every single one of you, there's baby birds in the door, you know, and, right? And it's all symbolic of taking care of each other, you know, to Cancer ruling the mother of the world, Capricorn full moon, the father, right? So you've got that energy of the strict father and the holding mother energy, and when both those energies are at play, right? But we are working with that solar energy right now to amplify it from an esoteric perspective. And it's very, very powerful. And that whole idea of, as Michael was saying, is too much wattage. There's so much wattage coming in all the time, and sensitive people know this because we get blown by it sometimes. And so we have to manage our vehicles, our body, our mind, our consciousness, our hearts, everything. I mean, everything. And it's a full-time job, you know. Consciousness is a lot of work. But unconsciousness is even more, because it's much more dramatic. So when you start to line up and you start to work with these pulses, like Michael was saying about fire, earth, air, water, full moon, new moon, solstice, right? We've got these pulses, and every day is a pulse in its own right. So meditators usually meditate every day. Start your day like that if you're going to meditate. That's the way to do it, right? Begin. So you're setting a note for the whole day for yourself that sets the tone for how that day flows. And it's a conscious choice. I decide to be present, to be conscious, etc. And so we're in these powerful, challenging, beautiful, but horrible, you know, times where there's so much at play, you know. And so we, and you, I, need to meditate. We need to stay in that consciousness on purpose. So with this sensitive energy of Cancer, right? So sensitive. You might be feeling a lot. And so when we balance the emotional vehicle, we say it like that, we balance the emotional vehicle, meaning the body of our emotion. Can you do that? Let it go, put it down, the worries of the day, the concerns of the world, the concerns of the self, not to get rid of them, but to harmonize them into the moment where they can be blessed, where they can be healed, where insight can come, where you can invent a new water-making machine, or, you know, you can be the artist, you can be the creative, you can be the genius, you can be the conscious soul, which is genius, to me, you know? So what I call this, two things we're going to do in our meditation in a little bit, is the word illumination, which is picking up from that, it's the light. And working with light, and healing is the other word that I wanted to work with. And I want to say healing past. You can't really heal the present until you understand your past. And you certainly can't affect the future from the past, right? You have to stand in the present. And so a lot of us, you know, there's things in our life that we're still working with and changing and healing and growing through. And we will our whole life long. That isn't like something you do and it's done. It's a constant work in progress, right? And so the opportunity to me about this full moon, here it is, but is to work with these energies, because they're very structured right now and you've got help. And so it's an easier time to forgive the past, to work with the past differently. So instead of the story that we tell, you know, It becomes this hero's journey, big time, right? It starts to make sense why that happened. And I think that there's some, we always are working on this, that this full moon particularly, and being caringful of the birds, being caringful of each other, being caringful of yourself, to careful. Careful is a funny word, be careful, but I like to say caringful. It's just softer, and it's to be mindful, it's to be conscious, it's to be considerate. And so these are the energies that are happening and that we're going to work with. And we got a lullaby to begin with, which is so perfect. It made me cry. You always make me cry, Kelly Jean. It's so beautiful. And I'll just add one more thought for the month, how to work with this a little bit, and also about meditation, this is a concept I've been working with my classes recently, and that is to say this phrase to yourself, and I'll add it into our meditation, this simple phrase, which changes everything, and it is, I am meditating. And it's a command, it's a statement of fact versus, is this a meditation? I wonder if I'm meditating. I seem to be thinking about dinner. We kind of go off and away. I am meditating. It becomes power. My word is law. I am meditating. And I'd love you to use that in your meditation today and just see if it works for you, because these little tools, they're tips, like how to get through and how to stay when, the mind is unbelievably restless, and worried and thinking of things, and that the mind is a thought-generating machine. It's what it's supposed to do. It's as it's supposed to be. And in meditation, we learn to hold on a sit, stay, and to learn how to do that and to be just present to the stay. We're just watching this show about Australian sheepdogs, and they're amazing. They just go boom, 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 and the collar will say, sit, stay, and they just drop everything and fall to the ground. They have to be so precision. And I feel like when you meditate for a long time, you start to get more precision so that you can be in the middle of a situation, whatever it be, and come to a sit, stay, which is really a truer way to say this, just to be present. Just come present. Come present. So that's what we're going to work with, those energies. We're going to have 10 minutes of silence once we get into the place. I'll set it up, and then I'll leave you there with a seed thought that you can work with and you can use also, especially if you find yourself distracted. I am meditating. It sounds so simple and obvious but it is so powerful. It actually can break a chain of habit, of engaging with the mind in a very particular way that makes it so that people stop meditating because they're saying, I'm not even doing anything. There's that feeling of that. And so every second you're present, it changes the world. Seriously, every second you're conscious, you're creating more light. That's a privilege and an opportunity that we get to have by our practices. So we thank you always for doing world service meditation, which is what this is. That's, we're not just meditating for ourselves, we're meditating for the all. So we are taking care, we are being caringful of our world, Mother of the World, at this strict Saturnian time, the Father, Capricorn, full moon. So there's this opposites, right, of the loving mother and the father that has has an expectation of what you're expected to do. And we need both, those polarities. So I think that's where I'll leave it. I think that's a good place. Michael, anything before we go? Okay. All right. So make yourself comfortable. Don't do this. But you could sit cross-legged, oddly, but in that you don't want to be not cross-legged, so either feet on the floor is ideal, but it doesn't have to be. But it can be, it's better. talking about chakras. And just when you're ready to, close your eyes and make that first touch to the self, to the true self, to the inner self, this heart of the inner self. And you use your breath by taking a breath, and you balance the physical body with your exhalation. Come into the room all the way, in your body, in yourself, as yourself, present. I am present. Just feel that change already in the space, in our room. And then on this Cancerian Cancerian solar, take a breath to balance the emotional body. Inhaling. Exhaling. Balancing the emotional body. And there's a lot stirring, a lot changing, a lot coming forth, a lot burgeoning. And then finally, using your breath one more time to balance the mental body, taking a breath. And as you exhale, balancing the mental body, and it gets still, 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 still. And you step into the heart center, feeling the group of us together, heart to heart, and the group of all world servers and meditators and healers and artists and heartists, heart to heart to heart. You come into that clarified field now, and you step into the head center in the cave in the center of the head. And we'll just start with that phrase, just to play with it so you can feel it. Bless you. I am meditating. I am meditating. And as the mind busies up, I am meditating. And the body comes still, and the emotions come soft, and the mind gets quiet, deeply, deeply still. And you begin that process of presence, concentration of consciousness. I am meditating. Om. Staying with you, connected to the soul now, and sense that connection, soul with self, soul with self, as one. I am aligned with the soul. And as you're aligned with the soul, and you actually can have an experience of that right now, where you recognize your own soul. And now your toaster's plugged in. This unified field of pure light. You feel that energy stream that moves ever upward, infinitely upward, higher and higher and higher vibrations of consciousness higher and higher and more and more. And we're just letting ourselves stand receptive to light, for this healing for the world, for this healing for ourselves, for healing for each other. We stand witness, we stand present in all this light that moves through all the stations, and the masters and teachers, the wise ones before us, through the heart of the sun, the way to Sirius, cosmic connection, divine light. And receive it like an infusion. Receive it as an infusion, receiving light. And so our seed thought, as we move into the silence, is this, which is the key phrase of Cancer. And it's so powerful, it's good to use to harmonize the body to this concept. We build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And I'm going to say the word illumination again. Illumination. We build a lighted house, and therein dwell. Moving into the silence now. I am meditating. Letting your whole being be infused with light. I build a lighted house and therein dwell. We build a lighted house, our world, and therein dwell. Let every atom of your whole entire being on every level be enlightened. Receive this light. And from this place then starting, that stepping back into the life with all this growing knowing and ever increasing consciousness every time you meditate. It's like strata. It doesn't go away. It's like a mountain of awareness. And gently become aware of our phrase again, we build a lighted house and therein dwell. And as a group, we radiate this light like a sun. To any place you think of, to anyone you think of, to any country you think of, to anything, anywhere, we radiate this light like a sun. As above, so below. Feel that. As above, so below. As within, so without. Feeling your feet, feeling the chair, feeling yourself present. More and more now. I'm going to close this meditation using the great invocation. If you know it, you can say it, or you can just say it in your mind, or listen along to the alchemy, these words, followed by 3 ohms. From the point of light, within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth, and in me, and in you, and in us. From the point of love, within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the wise ones know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om.
Thank you, Diana. Let's continue to hold the light that we've received. So the whole of the substance of our being is transformed into light. And from this substance, we may build the lighted house. So we're going to end, as we normally do, by sending out a blessing to the world, knowing that the words of the occult maxim, energy follows thought, they're true. Wherever we direct intentionally the thoughts from our mind, they reach that place and they create the intended outcome. So I'm going to sound the Tibetan bowl 3 times after I have invited you to send out light in a certain way. This is the basis of creative meditation. Creating a better future, new possibilities, out of the purity of our thought, out of the purity of our hearts, out of the purity of our consecration to this one life. So the first wave that we send out will flow from our heart. The light of love from our hearts will flow to all parts of our world to dispel the darkness and ignorance and separation and begin to purify the substance, the building blocks of this new temple. So from your heart-lighted mind, send these powerful thoughts of purity, of purifying, and seeing the darkness of separation dispelled. And take a breath, and this time breathe in the light that lives within the heart of the Mother of the world. This is our Mother who holds all life in her substantial embrace and unconditional love. So stand with the Mother and let us send out a beam of light. And this beam of light permeates the hearts of humanity, creating the light that is to be placed within the lighted house. And then finally, we send out a wave in the form of a powerful beam of light from the heart of our group field that we have created together. And we see this light condensing, taking shape as the temple of the new era. A temple that reflects the sacred geometry of the heavens on earth. We are able to build this temple because we are the incarnated and co-creative agents of the soul on earth. The incarnated agents of the one life. So let us visualize a new world being born. A world full of light and love. A temple in which the soul of our one humankind may reside. And take a deep breath to realize that This is the work of the soul on earth. This is creative meditation. This is how we bless our world day by day. So on behalf of all of us at Meditation Mount, we thank you for your presence, your participation, those of you who have endured the warmth of the auditorium, and those of you who are online. Thank you so much. It's our joy to do the work together. So it only remains for us to say a blessed good evening or good night from Meditation Mount. And if you wish this time to walk down and enjoy the gardens and the beauty and the light of an early sunset. So may the light be with us. And as we're approaching the Independence Day celebration, let us, of course, say, may the 4th be with you. So thank you, everyone.